Hello everyone. How are you doing? Hope all is well with you and your families. And I do hope you have a safe day and get home back safely. Because right now the greatest gift is to leave your home for work, business or play and get back home safely. It is a blessing. So guys, as we stay on top of the investigation of the murder of Melissa Silvera, boom, it was alleged at first that she died peacefully in her sleep, which was a lie, proven by the autopsy report, which showed she was shot 3 times, possibly in her sleep. Now imagine the seriousness of the situation and how shocking this is. Then the husband was questioned. His lawyer Peter Champagne's statement is his client is not a person of interest. How can he not be a person of interest when it's his wife, his home, no breaking and entering, and allegedly no blood? Well, as far as I see it, the no blood argument was in keeping up to cover up that she died in her sleep. Now we find out that one sergeant of police was called to the scene first. Sergeant Dubney from St. Andrew North Division, as it's alleged that he would have been the first respondents on the scene. So as you know, all eyes would be looking at him, because it would have seemed that since he was the first one on the scene, he would have helped to organize the cover-up. As it's alleged, he never went on the scene with a partner, because other police at the station, the DC, alleged that the police told him to stay. And there is nowhere in the world that a police on duty go on a call by his or herself. They generally go with a partner. It's also alleged that this police was specially called to the house, but yet the husband, Jolyan, was not at home when the wife was murdered. Or should we instead say he was not at home when the findings was happening? We don't know how long ago she had been murdered, because we hear in rumors she was sitting up in chair, then we hear in rumors that she was lying in bed. So we don't know how long, and we can't even depend on them to tell us how long was the body dead, because who else at home would have known which special police to call? Allegations are also said that it was the child in the home who had found the mother, and she was sitting up in the chair at first, and there was like blood coming from her belly bottom area there and their side like. So the family members been saying that the death is just too suspicious from the very beginning, because the first stories the family would have heard was that it was the son who found her and she was sitting up and blood was coming from her waist down. After that, all phones and tablets and laptops were taken from the children. I wonder why. I would assume so that they don't get to talk to any external family members or friends and accidentally give out any practical information. It just does not make sense. However, the report carried was that she was in her bed. Hence the reason they say how much she died peacefully in her sleep. So obviously someone had moved her and put her on the bed. And why would she be naked in her bed then? I think her being naked in the bed is because of the cleanup effort that was taking place, and they just placed her in the bed after. And who knows, they did what they have to do to make sure that no blood was still coming, whether by injection or whatever. Criminals know what to do. Hence the reason at that time they most likely would not have seen any blood, because it would have all been cleared up, and the blood that would be coming from her would basically be stopped in its track, so there won't be any blood oozing out. So even if a police, just for argument's sake, say there was no cover up by the police, and looking on, you won't see any blood around the place. I won't see any blood on the sheet or anything. But what instead, you will just see her lying down there peacefully like she's sleeping, when really and truly all of the cleaning up and everything, all those effort and so on was done already. And whatever was done to make the blood stop flowing from the body for a moment, I don't know how long it takes before it starts flowing again, they would have also done that. You have to be in deep medical to understand that part of it. Or a criminal. In the first instance, when we heard that Melissa Silvera died in her sleep, we were under the impression that basically husband wake up in the morning, look over at wife, and she wasn't waking up, you know. It wasn't said in those actual words, but that's the impression we had. And, you know, like, healthy girl, what happened? And, you know, she just 40-year-old, what could have gone wrong? No, we are hearing he saying that he was not at home at all when they found her not waking up in the morning. However, that is not an excuse, because he might not have been there for the finding, but he was there before the fact. Hence, the children might never have suspected anything, and he would have gone about his business. And maybe him same one in the morning might have called the children and say, you know what, I can't get through to mommy on the phone. Go to the room and tell her that I want to talk to her. So when they find her out, so right then and there, it would have been the child who would have found the body of the deceased. Now there is this social media influencer that is now caught up in the whole fiasco, and she has made some damning allegation, putting herself even on the scene, and really and truly did more damage than good in helping her man friend Jolyan Silvera. Because in her bid to defend him, she said the police was called and processed the scene, and how she was on the scene within hours, and the police had the body moved, and how the husband Jolyan was not there at first. So how you know so much? Did he tell you, vlogger? Because you said you reached there within hours. So did you reach before him, or him reach before you, or only arrived together? She further stated there was no forced entry, and there was no exit wound on the body. So is she saying she did check for all that? Because on the one hand, she's saying that there was blood coming from her nose, and they thought it was an aneurysm in her sleep. There she goes diagnosing. So just thinking it's an aneurysm with blood coming through her nose. How you know there was no exit wound on the body? So much were you checking the body? Because it seems as if you see the nose part and you said, okay, she died in her sleep, is aneurysm. How are you saying that there was no exit wound on the body? Were you going over the body, contaminating the scene? You went as far as to say 3 bullets landed in her chest, abdomen area, and it would have to be like a marksman do that. But yet still, I'm still trying to understand. After it being a case of you just see blood at the nose and it's an aneurysm, she died in her sleep, how comes you were checking the body to see if there was any exit wound? Did you turn her over and look on her back, on her side, and her head, and her arm, and everywhere? And then now you're talking that there's 3 bullets in her abdomen down there. What you're saying a lot. You know more than you are saying. This influencer was chatting so much, forgetting the first 6 weeks she was said to die in her sleep, then proclaimed she thought it was an aneurysm because she was bleeding from her nose. She's still forgetting in the report they said there was no blood, but the evidence that this influencer is giving is that she was bleeding through her nose. As far as I see it, there's just lies and more lies and cover-ups. They blatantly said there was no blood. She died peacefully in her sleep. Then when people questioning her involvement, only for her respond to be, man just a fling seed and cause drama. Pray mother and daughter okay. She referring to Philip Paulwell. I don't know how him come into it, apart from him is part of the People's National Party. Then she add again, Paulwell fling seed, but Jolyan fling bullets. And may help him clean up the crime scene. Ohgosh. All this drama just seems blatantly rude when a mother, a family and a friend has passed away and such suspicious circumstances. Then there is no further allegations that Jolyan Silvera has some sweetheart pregnant. It's alleged. I tell you guys, nothing is as it seems in Jamaica. Remember that. Now, can you believe that all this was going down and the husband said nothing until now? We hear a murder. Now it's understood that the MP Jolyan Silvera was calling for questioning again by detectives into the murder of his wife Melissa Silvera at the couple's matrimonial home in Stony Hill, St. Andrew, despite the second rounds of questioning by the Major Investigation Division on Spanish Town Road in Kingston. Sources are still saying that Mr. Silvera is still not a suspect. Also, the probe into the police boggled handling of the death of Mistress Silvera. It is found there was no mishandling on the part of the police. Well, I expected that, because if the husband is not suspected, then there is nothing to assume the police of doing, because as far as they see, there is no evidence of corruption in the death of Melissa Silvera, and that's according to the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Fitz Bailey. Now, there is further allegations threatening the PMP that if the party does not publish a public disassociation of itself from Jolyan Silvera, a release or relieve him of his party duties until the investigations is complete, all recordings of conversation of risers plotting against Mark Golding will be released. Now, while the police are doing their investigation of the crime scene, the tiles have changed, the bed is thrown away, walls have been torn down, room extensively rearranged. Are we really going to hold our breaths that they will find any evidence of what happened that fateful night? I rather doubt that. And somehow I don't think they are going to be able to access the kids to question him because they are underage. So it's a look and see what will happen next. This is rich people crime. Only if them go all out in wanting justice before we will be able to see justice in this case. Anyway guys, please remember to like, comment and subscribe to my platform, please. Love you all. Bye for now.